Good morning, everybody. Wisconsin's 7th Congressional District Representative Tom Tiffany is our very special guest today, Thursday, December 8th, 2022. For DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden, and you're watching Breakfast with Tiffany, a monthly chat with our Congressman to discuss all things going on in the 7th CD and in Washington, D.C. We do these once a month, typically on the second Thursday of every month. And by the way, if you have a question for the congressperson or for our congressman and or any topic that you want us to discuss or kind of get his views on, let us know in the comments. There we go. Tom, good morning.
Good morning and Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everyone out there. I hope it's great. December 8th, you have just reminded me. Thank you so much. I have one of my daughters has a birthday in 2 days. I have got to remember that.
What, 2 days? So that's
2 days.
Now we're up to 4 because December is a big month. We celebrate 3, but apparently now 4 very important birthdays.
Yes,
One
do.
Sounds like your daughter.
Yes.
And also for you, happy early birthday. Yours is coming up at the end of the month.
Thank you.
And then, of course, mine and Jesus. So those are 4 pretty big ones right there. So how's it going? It's been a month since we've chatted last. I have a couple of things that you had sent out I wanted to touch on in press releases that we had published. But first, just, how's it going? Where are you today?
Out in Washington, D.C., here for 3 weeks through December. One of the big changes from the state legislature to here is that we're basically in year-round. And so while we had about 6 weeks before the election that we were out campaigning, all that good stuff, since then, been in D.C. actually quite a bit. And we got a couple important bills that are coming up over this week and next week, including the National Defense Authorization Act and another budget bill. So, yeah, lots of stuff going on.
What was that first one?
The National Defense Authorization Act. So it is exactly as it's described in the name. It is for our national defense and how we're going to fund it.
Okay, I kind of want to get into some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But first, 7th Congressional District. We'll start here. So you had sent out a couple of press releases that we published on DrydenWire.com, and the headline, the first one was Tiffany announces winners of the 2022 Congressional App Challenge. And I recall there's even someone, because obviously we're in Northwest Wisconsin, and you cover a much larger area, Northern Wisconsin. But what can you tell us about that? For people who didn't get to see that, what was that about?
So, people are creating applications all the time for, we all have apps, right?
Yeah.
On our phone or on our computers, whatever. So we have a Congressional App Challenge, and we had 3 winners. We had a whole bunch of submissions from around the district, but we had 3 winners. And I should read them off to you because they're from the winners were in the Shatek-Weyerhaeuser School District.
Yeah.
Dagmar Beckel, Casey Haugen, and Peter Wise. They won the app contest for the 7th Congressional District. And I had a chance to talk to Dagmar on the phone, and gosh, she was so excited. I mean, it was kind of like, when I make the phone call to the people that get in the service academies, I mean, they are so thrilled. These kids were of the same mind. It was just great to be able to call them and announce that they're the winners. But let's see here. Yeah, they had a campaign simulator. So, that's right up our alley, on the political side. But they created a campaign simulator app, which we thought was pretty cool. And we had a couple others here. One was a daily planner, and the other was a secret message encryption one. I haven't been able to look real deeply into that one. That one sounds interesting also, the secret message.
I know, because you and I are total nerds. Like, that totally is up our alley. I love that, geeking out, man.
And being in Washington, D.C., you got to be a little bit paranoid, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, when that was announced, I think when we put that post up, I think someone had commented to one of those individuals from Shatek-Weyerhaeuser, their family, saying that, congratulations. I think it was maybe to like one of the parents. Sure. Like, wow, we didn't actually hear the official announcement yet. So they actually saw it on DrydenWire, which I thought was pretty cool. But then I put in like the YouTube videos of each one, because each one had like a YouTube video of what that app was of those top 3 people. And I couldn't believe it. Like, do you know what I was doing when I was their age? Not creating apps, man. I couldn't believe, like, wait, these are high school kids? That's crazy.
Thankfully, Jesus was looking out for you.
Amen to that. So you already kind of touched on the other one. Our headline was Tiffany announces United States Service Academy nominations. For people who didn't see that one, what can you tell us about that?
Yes, we had 9 nominations that we've submitted for young people in the 7th Congressional District to be able to attend the service academies, and so really great stuff. I mean, one of them not far from you in Amory. Let's see,
Yeah.
yeah, Hunter. I think it's Hunter Beese, maybe BC, but I think it's Beese from Amory, United States Merchant Marine Academy. One of the 9. That'll be terrific. But we got them from all over the district that. They've been nominated to go to the service academies.
So when you say nominated, and even when I was reading that press release, and I think in there, I think it kind of touched on that. But what does that mean, and why are you a part of this? So is it? Do you have to go through your congressperson? How is this? How are you involved in this?
Yeah, you got to go through your congressional representatives or the president. And I'm quite sure the president. Let me see, vice president. I'll read it off here. Vice president, president, and members of the congressional delegation. So that would include our 2 United States senators, as well as congressmen like myself. We all have the ability to nominate these people to the service academies. Now their nomination will go in, and the academies will evaluate them.
Okay. Before we move on to some other stuff, we already have a question right here. Good morning, Steve. Is there anything that can be done about conservative student groups being censored and disbanded by a major university in our state? I'm not familiar what that's referring to. I don't know if you are familiar with that. Tom?
Yeah. So I'm not, but I would be really interested in that. I mean, censorship is a big problem in America, as you know, the news in regards to Twitter and Elon Musk over the last month has highlighted so artfully. But it is a big problem. And I would just say, I think it was Steve there that sent the message. I would just say, first of all, send the information to us. We will ask about it. But I would definitely go to your elected officials. Make Romaine Quinn, if he's your state senator now, do some work, because he's going to be your new guy, start in early January. Have their offices check this out. But yeah, just in all seriousness, contact your state representatives also, and because they can follow up on that. I would think that'd be a highly sensitive issue for our universities. Number one, because they're supposed to be all about free speech. But number two, their funding is directly tied to the state budget, and the state budget's going to be negotiated here in the next 6 months. Now's the time to, okay, he said one of the conservative groups at UW-Madison was censored. Be sure to let your local representatives know. Send it to my office also in regards to the details. That should not be happening.
And how do they send that to you? Is there an email address, or just go to your website and there's contact information in there?
Yeah, just go to the website and you'll find the general mailbox. We review that thoroughly every day. We'll get the information. Just send it to the general mailbox. If you want to call, you can call my office at 715-298-9344. Probably better to email and send some information with it so that we can respond.
Sure. And this, sorry, it looks like it was a follow-up to that. Do I contact my reps or the Dane County reps? Okay, I'm going to answer that one for you to see if I get this right. You'd want to start with your local reps first, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Boom, I got one.
That is correct. Yep, Steve, contact your local reps.
All right. Speaking of Twitter, are you on Twitter? I know your campaign is on Twitter. I know there's like a Tom Tiffany and a Representative Tiffany and all. But do you actually go on Twitter, or is it, you have people for that? They're the ones that put all this stuff in, which is fine too. But do you ever like peruse Twitter? You're on a plane or you're waiting for a plane and you're just, I think I'll go to Twitter.
Yeah, I do some personal Twitter. I haven't done much over the last couple months because, especially leading up to a campaign, the haters go out there,
What?
in such droves that it's just like, we'll just knock it off for a little while. But yeah, I've got my own Twitter account and I use it occasionally. Yep. I like to use it primarily for personal stuff, or stories that might be of what I think are of great interest. But I like to use it for satire sometimes. I think I love using humor on Twitter. I think it's one of the best uses of Twitter.
How many fake accounts do you have on social media?
You
can't count that.
Not that I know of.
Okay.
I don't have any fake accounts that I
Okay.
know of. Now, if people have created fake accounts for me, well,
All
I
right.
can't answer that question. God,
Well, you
who
know what I
knows
mean?
what?
Like some people will just create another account under somebody else's name, make a different email, and so you can just like totally troll people.
I'm not into that,
I'm not either. That stuff's
I'm
stupid.
just too busy.
I'm
Gosh, I
just
mean,
too busy.
oh,
And who's got
God.
the time for that, man? Get a second job. Contribute. Oh, yeah. So anything else before we get into DC
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah, your local restaurant's hiring, right?
Yeah, right. No kidding. So before we get into DC stuff, Washington D.C., we want to stay on the 7th Congressional District. Anything else going on in this area that you wanted to make sure we talk about before we moved on to stuff happening in Washington?
There's always lots of stuff going on, but no, I don't have anything else. I hope everybody had a good. No, Steve's really
Burner
getting
account.
after
That's
it.
what they're called. Burner accounts. Thanks. Steve's killing
Steve's
it
really
today.
getting. Yeah, he's really getting after us today. That's great. No, just really looking forward to as we get back in the majority, putting our plans in place for that. We are moving offices out in Washington D.C. For those that may have visited us, been in Longworth. We're going to move to the Cannon office building now,
Is that like
and
a promotion kind of thing? Like, okay, it's your second term or something, or is it?
yeah, so this would be my second full term. We went from choosing like number 70 from the bottom, number 70 from the bottom out of 435 to where we're like 130 from the bottom now. So we're going to get a better
A
office.
nicer. But when you say better, what does that mean? Is bigger?
We actually, the office we had has been split. It's half of it is on one side of the hallway, half on the other side. And we have not found it to be the best for communication amongst our staff.
Just
And
yelling back and
so
forth.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. And we want to get everybody in one office, and that's going to happen now. And I just think it makes for better communication.
well, and it's just interesting because when you come on and you talk about these things, it's almost like we're what's the thing with the curtain? Like we're seeing behind the curtain a little bit because this sounds a lot like just normal business life too, where it's you want the corner office or a better like I didn't realize that actually was also kind of applicable to our politicians or elected officials that hey now we can actually get a nicer office because everybody wants a nicer office.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, to me, there's two big things in regards to our office choice. Number one, what's best for my staff? Because they're here all the time. I'm not. And what makes them most comfortable to be able to do their jobs well? The second thing is the location of the office buildings and then where the committees are that, like natural resources and judiciary, where do they hold their meetings? In which building? Because you want to be as close as possible, right?
Sure.
And so where we're going to Cannon is a little bit closer to the Capitol, and it's also a little bit closer to the Capitol Hill Club, where I go and do some meetings there also. And so we just tried to balance all of that, and we just thought Cannon, with all the things that we considered, was the best office to be. And it is one of the newly renovated office. There's a whole wing of the Cannon office building that was renovated over the last 2 years. And we're going to move into one of those offices, which is basically brand new at this point. And we thought that was pretty cool too.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that I don't know why we're spending so much time on this, but I'm just fascinated by it.
Yeah.
You said that's closer to the Capitol. I've never been to Washington D.C. We had plans to go out. My wife and I were going to drive out to D.C. and kind of schedule around times like you were there and some other people we know. But that's right when COVID happened. So we haven't been out there. But you're saying it's not even in the Capitol building? I thought everybody's in the Capitol building.
No, there's 3 office buildings that are off from the Capitol. And it's Cannon, Longworth, and Rayburn. And that's where all the committee rooms are also, or most of the committee rooms are also. And so Cannon's just a little bit closer.
Oh, now that makes. I thought you just meant like closer, like down the hall, or you're not in the basement
no.
anymore. Or something that makes more sense. I don't think this is an actual question, but D. Mackenzie commented the wheel tax ought to be rescinded. Doesn't tax everyone who uses the roads.
Hey, D-Mac, what county are you in?
There you go. Let us know.
D-Mac, so a wheel tax can be put in place by the counties. That's authorized by the state of Wisconsin, so the counties can do a wheel tax. You need to talk to your county representatives. They're the ones that put the wheel tax in place. You should ask them about that.
All right. I want to switch gears here to, well, we're kind of talking about DC a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Last time you were on, it was 2 days after the election, and
Yep.
we were talked about the speakership, I think.
Uh-huh.
And Mike McCarthy, no, not Mike McCarthy.
Kevin.
That's right. I said that wrong last time too. Yeah, Kevin McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy's having a really good year.
Seemed to be like the presumptive, not presumptive, but that's what it was.
Sure.
And we just kind of discussed it a little bit, but there still doesn't seem to be a decision on that. So first, for people who don't know, what is going on and why is it taking so long?
Yeah, so what you're referring to is the leadership elections. So when we get in, when we're sworn in January 3rd, you'll have the speaker, which is the top dog in the House of Representatives, currently Nancy Pelosi. It switches to us Republicans, so most likely will be a Republican. Doesn't have to be, but most likely will be. And so you have a Republican that will be the speaker. Then you have our majority leader, conference chair, conference whip. Those are the four top positions. So of those four positions, they're all majority votes. So we've decided who our conference whip is. That's Tom Emmer from Minnesota, right next door, northwestern Wisconsin. The conference chair is Elise Stefanik from New York. And the majority leader will be Steve Scalise from Louisiana. And Kevin McCarthy got the most votes to be speaker. But the speaker vote is a little bit different than the other ones. It is not a majority vote. It is a vote of 218 members. So Leader McCarthy got 188 votes. Andy Biggs from Arizona got 31, I believe was the tally, for speaker. So as a result, Kevin McCarthy is the speaker-elect. But on January 3rd, he has to get 218 votes after we're sworn in order to be the speaker. So he's working on that yet to try to get to that 218. And obviously what's going on is he's trying to find votes from the 31 that voted for Andy Biggs that will now vote for him.
Okay.
And so that's a process that's going on yet as we in the run-up to January 3rd.
Well, excuse me, why 218? Must be a percentage-wise?
Yeah, because that's one more, that is over 50% of the conference. There's 435 members. 218 would make it just over 50%. You got to have.
So he's trying to get those other 30-ish. If he's at 188 and he's at 218, I think that's 30, right? I think. Or those 31 that Biggs had gotten. So what happens, just out of curiosity, if he doesn't get the 218 on January 3rd? If in this case, we'll just say McCarthy.
Yeah, really good question. We keep voting. We keep voting until somebody gets 218. The last time, now I'm not sure of this, people could check on this. The last time there was really a contested race, I think they said was 1923, when it took 9 ballots in order to get a winner with the 218, and I'm assuming it was 435 back then. It might have not been.
Sure.
But anyhow, in order to get that majority that you have to have of all the members, it took
9 ballots. And how often do you vote? Is it like once a day? At that point, like on January 3rd, there isn't, again, I'm just going to say McCarthy because he seems to be the front runner. Is it every month or is it every week? How many times do you keep voting?
Here's what would happen. You go down, you have the vote, and if somebody does not get 218, we would probably go back into conference as Republicans, and we'd say, and we'd start arguing. Okay, how are we going to get to 218? We have to do this, whatever. And, you start the horse trading, stuff like that, and somebody has to get to 218. So, I can't predict how it will play out,
sure,
but that process, I would think, would continue through the entire day. If it does not get done on January 3rd, we will be back at it January 4th, figuring out how we get to 218. And see, the thing that we don't want to do is, we do not want a Democrat as speaker, as the leader, right? So out of the 222 Republicans, somebody's got to get 218 votes. Because the Democrats are not going to give a Republican any of those votes.
Not likely.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to happen.
Typically.
So, yeah, a better way to put it is not likely.
Yeah.
So, you got to get 218 out of the 222. That's the challenge.
Have you, I think I asked you on the last show, but again, this was right after the election. The election's on a Tuesday. You come on a Thursday. Where you were, and I don't think you had an answer back then, so I don't know if it's changed, but I'm going to ask you again then. Have you, I don't know what it's called, officially announced your endorsement? Have you made a decision on either, was it Biggs, I believe you said, or McCarthy? Have you, is that stuff
Yeah,
that you announce or that you say, or is like, no, we don't actually talk about that stuff, just behind the scenes we do?
yeah, I have not officially said anything, but I have had a concern over the last 2 years that the the House of Representatives does not run by regular order anymore. It's run horribly. Like today, we have a 4,000-page bill that's going to go to the House floor to be voted on, and we're going to have less than 2 days to study it. Less than 2 days to study it. That is not how it should run. There are bills that go from the Speaker's office straight to the floor. They don't even go through committee hearings anymore. That type of stuff has to change. I believe we should go back to single issue bills rather than these bills that just end up being a grab bag. I think you should have at least 72 hours to be able to review a bill before you vote on it. And I think that bills should go through committee. I mean, it's part of the problem in Washington, D.C., is that the House of Representatives no longer uses regular order, what we refer to as regular order. I believe that's something we need to get back to. And so it's something that I've been saying to Leader McCarthy. I want to see some of those reforms before I will vote for you. And to his credit, he's been working in that direction. There's been some good reforms put in place. I do think that there's some additional things that should be done also to reform how the House of Representatives is running, because it's failed at this point.
If McCarthy gets so if you haven't actually made an announcement, or maybe it's because you haven't made a decision, or because you just don't want to say an official announcement at this point, if McCarthy did become, and my words, 188 or whatever it was, he seems to be the likely, right, at this point. If he were and he addressed some of those concerns, would you have any issue with that? If he became the speaker, would you be like, well, I don't know? Or
Oh, no.
I think
No,
you'd be
no.
just fine.
No, if he gets 218 votes, then he gets to be speaker, and that's how it works. I mean, it's somewhat similar to what we did in the state legislature. You cast your lot, and whoever ends up as speaker, whoever ends up as majority leader in the Senate, they won. And
There you go.
no,
Right.
no, I think he could do a good job.
Sure. We have a couple of things here, and Ben Hedlund put something in. But going back to Steve had a question here first. What can you tell us about AOC being under investigation by the Ethics Committee? Once again, I have no idea what this is about. So
yeah, that's all I can tell you, is that AOC is under investigation by the Ethics Committee, and
got it.
They're reviewing that maybe there's some improprieties that have gone on. I mean, that's why the Ethics Committee would be reviewing her.
Sure.
I'll tell you quite honestly, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist on this. AOC caused a lot of problems for Nancy Pelosi, and while that's not well publicized, is Nancy Pelosi, is she getting some revenge on her way out the door as Speaker? Now, that's purely conjecture.
Yes.
But, stranger things happen in Washington, D.C.
Right. 100%. Here is from Ben Hedlund. I have more of a general sociological question. Tom, ever socialize your coffee with Democrats? Is it possible for stalwart conservatives and far-left Democrats to be friendly with each other, or are we too divided? Oh, man, I love that question. Those are the kind of questions I love.
Yeah, so yes, I do socialize. I do converse and talk. I mean, somebody that I talk to on occasionally is Representative Mark Pocan, who is, about as far left as you can get on the spectrum, from down in Madison, the Wisconsin representative from Madison. And I enjoy talking to Mark. In fact, like on some of these, like on the defense bills, we're dealing with the National Defense Authorization Bill here this week. On some of those issues in the National Defense Bill, we actually come to the same place on some of those issues in regards to defense spending and stuff like that. So you do, if you draw the Venn diagram, there's some crossover at times for a variety of reasons. The one place that there used to be, I thought, more crossover was in regards to First Amendment free speech, free political speech. I thought libertarian Republicans and real liberal Democrats always kind of shared the same space. A little bit concerned. Some Democrats have kind of left the First Amendment behind, I believe, at this point. But that's another place where you'll sometimes see some common ground, or a common place to find common ground amongst, strong conservatives and strong liberals is in regards to the free speech arena.
Yeah. Obviously, this just happened short before we went live. It was announced the president had did a press conference. Brittany Griner, excuse me, is a transfer, right? Or I'm not sure what that's referred to as, but
I think you're doing.
She comes back, and then we have to give someone to them, etc. I'm sure you were not a part of that, or maybe you were. I don't think so, but
I wasn't.
Right. Happy to see this.
No, it's good to have an American citizen come back. I mean, here's an American citizen. I mean, what was she stopped for? She was carrying marijuana, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a classic case of an American. You shouldn't expect to be treated the same in a country like Russia as you are in America. It's a different place, and they will treat you differently, and you should be aware of that before you go over there and act the way that you want to. I mean, just because you can do it in America doesn't mean you can be doing it in Russia.
Yeah, pilgrim in an unholy land, man. Just saying.
So I mean, it's a good thing that she's going to be able to come back. I don't know what the price was. I know, in Obama's final year, President Obama's final year or two, he did that one prisoner exchange for the guy that deserted his fellow troops. I mean, I thought that was obscene what they did for the prisoner exchange in regards to that. I have not seen who they exchanged Brittany Griner for.
I believe it was a Russian arms dealer or something. But I don't want to speculate because I don't know.
Was that the guy that was Nicolas Cage played his character in a movie or something?
Oh,
I'm not up on that because
Yeah,
I'm not that up on. But
I know what movie you're talking about, but I highly doubt it. But it could very well be. But I know what movie you're talking about. I think it's like War Inc. or something. No, that's a different one. Yeah, I know what that is. But
it's good. It's good. She's an American citizen. She gets to come home. That's a good thing.
Yeah, no kidding. Shoot, I wrote something down. Now I can't read my own right. Oh, Republican Party. So you were talking about Democrats and regarding AOC and Pelosi. The Republican Party right now, it seems like people are kind of jumping ship on Donald Trump, former President Trump, in terms of the Republican Party. I don't want necessarily your view from like your where you stand on this necessarily, but can the Republican Party, because that red wave didn't really happen that it was supposed to, and some people actually thought it wasn't going to happen at all. Looking at the next couple of years, is this here's the overarching question. Is the Republican Party right now broken?
So I think the Republican Party is very disappointed in the results of November, as we all should be. I certainly thought we would do better, and we didn't. Now, put a caveat on there. Northwestern Wisconsin
did great.
Republicans did really well.
Did great.
I mean, we did our job in Northwestern Wisconsin. I would also preface this by saying this is not my number one focus. We were given the majority in the House of Representatives, and we need to do our job now. We need to get back to a balanced budget. We need to get back to energy independence. We need to secure the border. Those things are the three top priorities that I have as we go forward. And I think we need to be focused on them because the American people do want that. 70 to 75% of the American people believe we are on the wrong track. And if we're on the wrong track, then let's change the direction that we've been going here over the last couple of years. So that's the number one priority for me. Mm-hmm. In regards to 2024, that's going to play out. And I would just say, and I've been quoted saying this before, if President Trump stays focused on policy, and he talks about his policy wins when he was president, think about it. Peace around the world, especially peace in the Middle East, Abraham Accords, those type of things. What a great success. Contrast it with what's going on in Ukraine and the things China's doing, North Korea shooting missiles off the coast of South Korea and Japan, things like that. We had a more peaceful world under Donald Trump. We had better trade agreements. We were getting towards a secure border. I mean, all you had to do was go down and talk to the sheriffs in Arizona, and they tell you, man, you're headed in the right direction here. And we are completely out of control at this point. President Trump has so much that he can sell. If he stays focused on policy, he's going to be a formidable candidate. If he focuses on looking back at 2020, or off on these personality-driven discussions, then it's going to be tougher because people want to be focused. People want to know what you're going to do in regards to policy. What are you going to do for me?
Yeah.
That is what the question is. What are you going to do for the country? And that's what we need to be focused on. If he does that, he's going to have a good chance to win. If he doesn't, then we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Dinner last night, my wife and I had a dinner with Adam Jarchow, your former colleague in the legislature. Adam Jarchow and that's awesome. Adam and his wife. So we were up at the Prime, and he actually.
I know her, Barb. Barb, she's really a nice person. I like Barb. She really knows how to run a business.
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does.
And it echoed what Adam echoed basically what you were saying right now, or vice versa. That he said, I was just asking. We didn't really talk politics, but I think the only one thing we did talk about was. Just in terms, I think we're talking about the Supreme Court race or something. It's like, man, if people could just focus on and get that in your head, policy and issues, just stay focused on that. That's what people want to hear. That's what people want to see. So he had said, and I was supposed to rib you about something. I can't remember what it was. Like he or Rob Staffsholt, I can't remember what he said to give you a hard time about. Like you're not answering something. I don't know if it's on social media. I have no idea. Do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, the dynamic duo of Senator Staffsholt and this guy called Adam Jarchow. They're concerned about roads being shut off in the national forest, and they're actually correct. In all seriousness, they've been sending me pictures where they're shutting off more roads in the national forest, like up in Sawyer County, Bayfield County, places like that. And it's actually something that I hope we can have hearings on because it's a problem. They're denying sportsmen access to our federal lands to be able to recreate on, and it's wrong. So Adam's got a good point there.
Well, we don't like to say that very often.
Well, you got to give credit.
Throw them up down every once in a while.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, we're about up against our time. Is there anything? I mean, we can talk, a whole bunch of stuff. So, is there anything else that you want to talk about that we didn't get a chance to?
I don't.
All right.
We're voting here yet today, and so it was great to be able to join you. Hey, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy this season. It is the best. And I know I'm going to try to leave politics aside for a while. My 3 daughters are going to be home. Chris and I are just so excited to be able to get together with them over Christmas and make it the great holiday season that we all know it can.
And happy birthday to your daughter in a couple of days. And happy birthday, early birthday to you coming up at the end of the month. Excellent. Special thank you to our guest today, Wisconsin's 7th Congressional District Representative, Congressman Tom Tiffany. And of course, thank you for watching. We'll be back next month, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about Supreme Court stuff. There's so much we need to get to, but we'll do that next month. So until then, thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.